Okay, so mine looks a little different because I cleaned yours up a bit more, giving you a chart and everything and the values that you were supposed to have in there. But A, right, the daycare is built next, right? The enclosure is built next to the daycare to save on materials, right? So I gave you what the partitions would look like, but this problem here that you don't need to worry about fencing along this side here, that was up to you, right? You had to figure that out. So this would give you one mark right here. That's for A. So basically write L in terms of W. You get that, right? Because the 750 available is spread around the length here, and because you're having 3 partitions, there are 3 widths that you need to account for. Sorry, 4. 3 sections, 3 enclosures, 4 widths, okay? So the width comes over subtracting, so you have L is 750 minus, so that's 1 mark. The chart, also worth 1 mark. So if you made a mistake here in A, you go -1, okay? If you use this to complete the chart, you would still get 1 mark here, provided you did it correctly. And obviously everything else will be different for you. So if you have done it right, so I would actually see if this, what you got here for L, actually translates to being correct here, because you could have made a mistake on top of everything, right? Then it's mine, then it would be 0 here as well. But if you just made a mistake for the L, then you carry through, right? So if you did this correctly, and your equation is based on that chart, if you show me all the keystrokes and everything, you get the mark for C. And you would also get the mark for D if you show me the keystrokes, the coordinates of the vertex, but then state which one of these 2 numbers is the maximum area, right? So 4 marks. No, wait a minute. Is it 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 4 marks in total, okay? So give yourselves a mark out of 4 for the first question, right? If you notice how I mark, right? If I see you made a mistake here, I go -1, because then I just add up all the minuses and subtract it from the total, right? And that's how I do it. Okay, then we had a quadratic function. And you had to use the quadratic formula, so I actually was kind enough to place it in there, but you need to know what it is for the test, okay? You need to have that on your study sheet, so this is the last time I'm going to repeat that. So anyways, you clean this up, right? I brought everything over to one side, and then A is 9, B is 12, C is -12. If you brought everything over to the other side, the signs will be opposite, so that's still considered correct. So I would give you right here, if you arrive to this, you get 1 mark. If these are all correct, you get 1 mark. For simplicity reasons, right now, if you didn't get those right, you get 0 there. Okay? You get 0 for this part, for the ABCs. And the next mark I would give you for this whole section. So basically, if you get to here, and cleaned up version, then you get another mark. And then I would give you half for each answer. It's kind of like the breakdown. So 1 mark for the ABCs. If you get that wrong, you go -1 there. Then you plug in and clean it, you get another 1 mark for that. And this, you could take off only half if you make a small mistake somewhere up here, but then half a mark for each answer. Obviously, if your ABCs are wrong, everything else will be different. And sometimes getting the ABC wrong results in you getting a negative here. If you ever get a negative in here, always ask yourself, did I possibly make a mistake here earlier when I had to rearrange it? How could you check for sure? How would you know, is it me or is it actually what it's supposed to be? If you type in this into y1, that's why I showed you it's another method of solving. You type the left side into y1, the right side into y2, and see if they at all cross, because you will have two different curves. If they appear to not touch or cross each other, then indeed you won't have x-intercepts. So then you can check without even having to rearrange anything. It's a way to check, right? So question 2 is worth 3 marks. So put that down. So a mark out of 3. And then we're moving on to question 3. So you should recognize that this is the descriptive form of the quadratic, not standard. You can also call it the vertex form, okay? And is that number 2 that you're talking about? You got 24 for C or what? For this? Oh, here and here. Um, so your ABCs are the same as mine? Because I'll show you here. So if you go 12 squared minus 4 times 9 times negative 12, just for safety reasons, I'll put that negative 12. So I know that these two negatives are going to turn into a positive and it's going to add. That's why it's going to be a bigger number. The only way, if like I'm going to copy this and get rid of that negative, then it's negative 288. So did you forget to square? Did you forget to square the 12 perhaps? That's that's what I always do when I troubleshoot your work. There are some theories that I sometimes have, right? Why is it doing that? Oh, there. Then it's okay. Let's see if you remove the brackets. It still should give you 576. Did you forget the times? Like, let's see if I remove that, it's still 576. Oh, okay, you already found the root. Okay, then that's fine. That's fine because that is 24. Yeah. So you would have then. So did you double root it? Is that what happened? Because this, yes, root of 576 is 24. So that you're able to do that, right? If you want to do that, go for it, but then there shouldn't be a root on top of the 24. Because then you're double rooting. You're rooting here already, and then you're rooting it again. Does that make sense? I would, if, see, this is a big if. If I figure it out, I'm not going to spend like 10 minutes figuring something like that out, but right now we did figure it out. I would, I would take off half for something like that because if everything else checks out, like if then after that you're still doing this right, I would only take off half if I figure it out. If I don't figure it out, it would be -1 probably. Yeah. I'm sure that you weren't alone on that one. Okay. Number 3, the coordinates of the vertex. You take out the x value, it changes sign, right? And then this one is just -3. I was hoping that you were just going to grab it from here. But if you use your calculator, I would never know, right? Number of x-intercepts, explain. So here's where you need your knowledge of that comes in. Like, how do you know, right? None, since both A and K, remember, if A and K have the same sign, they're both negative, it will never cross the x-axis or something like that. So here I was more so looking for your knowledge of the descriptive form. Because if you just tell me like what you see on your calculator, right, because it never crosses the x-axis, it's like how do you know that other than using your calculator? So an explain question is looking for that, not stating the obvious. Okay, so you get 1 mark for the vertex, 1 mark for the explain. So the vertex you get if you use your calculator or not, I wouldn't know. But there it is. But that's where time comes in, okay? If I count that, I literally count that as maybe, 10 seconds worth of time. If you type this into your calculator and you have to get the right window and all of that, second trace, it takes longer. That's where your knowledge comes in, okay? So 2 marks for question 3. Okay, moving on. Harmandeep, did you figure it out? I'm trying to read. We put bracket on the 12, I mean on the 9. Did you figure it out, Harman? Okay. Okay. All right. So this one is by graphing. Okay. So you may rewrite it, which I would not suggest in this point because it's a lot more work. But if you did, that's fine. So y1, y2, then we go second trace 5 and find the intersections. Notice that if you put anything other than 0 for the y values, I would go -1 because it's a concept error. It's not just a small mistake, it's a concept. So if you put whatever you get on your calculator there, go -1, okay? So this is how you would show the work for something like that if I asked you to solve it. And then in your own words, explain your method, right? Enter left-hand side into y1, right-hand side into y2, found intersections, reported the x values. Something like that. If you did it as a sentence, a couple of sentences, that's fine. So 1 and 1, sorry, 2 for solving. If you forgot your keystrokes, take off half a mark and move on. Okay, 1 mark for explaining your method. And the last one, question 5. So this is what type is this? Anybody? Type 3, right? This is type 3, where you have a little story. Type 0, you get all the points, right? Then it is 1, 2, 3. So you get a little story, determine the equation of the situation, and I want those 3 points somewhere, either a table or a diagram. I asked you for a diagram. So you start at a 33-foot platform, you reach your maximum height, 40 of that after 0.65 seconds. So these are given. And then here you multiply it by 2. A lot of you were multiplying by 2 on the quiz, okay, even though it wasn't supposed to, right? Sometimes it gives you this. You have to divide by 2 to get the middle. So anyways, this is the third point. So this here I'm looking for, that's worth 1 mark. If that's wrong, you go -1. However, if you have an equation with the keystrokes, whatever points you ended up coming up with, you get 1 mark for the equation if it's written properly, y equals and everything, right? But you would lose 1 mark if you don't have this point there somewhere. How long was he in the air? This is the x-intercept, so you have to show me the keystrokes. And it's 2.10, right? So you have to tell me with units how long that was happening for. And then the last one is domain and range, one for each. And there's the bonus, which you get a maximum of 2 marks if this is correct. If you did some work and it's not correct, I would give you 1 plus there. Okay, so you can go ahead and do that. You put stat calc instead of stat calc quad reg. Yes, that's fine. Because stat calc 5, you press 5 to get quad reg. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's -1. And then that would make your domain super easy, right? Because you just take the one that you got down here, right? So we'll just follow through and you get you lose it here once and that's it.